Hi everyone. Today's Monday, February the 10th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and I just did a very long recording with no audio. So I'm going to do a very short recording, and luckily I had my dictation software on, and we'll see what it does. So you've got to look in the bottom where the details are of this YouTube channel to get yourself some details. Right? Because I do want to get this up before it gets too late. All right. Taking a look at the E-mini S&P, we've got by the dips, right? Daily, weekly charts. Just move back through them. You'll see what's going on. Today, I measured the wave from the top of Thursday to the bottom of Friday. The midpoint is 60.68. That's a huge line in the sand right now, folks. Very big. Pullbacks or buy zones. This is we've got a bullish formation on the day. Notice a lot of people talking about this. Savage dip down, buys it back up. 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 So what we do know is people are buying the dip. And so our best bets are going to be waiting for that dip. Right now, we're in the middle of that. So, you've got to go to tighter time frames to get yourself a space that gives you less risk as you move to the upside. But these are bullish formations, right? Doesn't matter what you're reading, what you're hearing, nothing. People are buying the dip. That's all we care about. Where are they headed to? 60.87 is the next wick here. And then my thought is, here's the closing VWAP for Thursday. That's 60.94. And then we've got 61.22. What's the go, no-go line? 60.57. Underneath there, it'll retrace to the bottom, and we'll have a problem. Okay? So, buy the dip. Definitely buy the dip. Here's the NQ. Formations look much the same, pretty sideways on top, right? But notice again, big dip down, traders buy it up, small dip down, traders buy it up, another dip down, traders buy it up. You get the story, right? You get the story. Where is the go, no-go line today? 21,650? That's my thought. 21,795 or so is Thursday's closing VWAP, and the top edge of the range, 21,900. Listen, if you want to short this thing, you can. You can. But here's the problem. A lot of people are looking at this going, hey, I'm just going to short up there. Meanwhile, the dips are really holding. And compared to where we were a week ago, we were getting higher lows. So at some juncture, somebody's going to get shredded here. And I think it's going to be the sellers as we get a blow off top into 22,000 and 22,100. For the time being, we're sitting above those moving averages. It is buy the dip, folks. So look for heavy congestion. This is the high at 21,650 is the high of the opening range candlestick. As long as we stay above there, Bob's your uncle. All right, next. Here's the YM. This one's a little toppy. Look at these, right? Pretty messy. Keltner channel doesn't look too bad here. Some of the other Keltner channels are extremely jagged. They look terrible. All right, jagged Keltner channels are going to tell us we have a lot of wicks. Here's the opening range candlestick here in the YM. The high, actually, should we use the close of that candle? Yeah, it's right near the high. The go, no-go line for me, because this opening candlestick range is so high, 44,465. Pullbacks are buy zones. Notice the trend here. It's pretty downward. So we're going to see sellers very likely at the first pass into 22,700, at which point the pullbacks into 44. Did I say 22,000? 44,600, 44,700, pullback 44,400. It is by the dip, right? Horribly nasty, jagged formations. But if you look for the wide angle event and watch the pullback flatten itself out, you're going to have the buying event. Notice, did not give it to us today. It just shot up like a rocket, and now we've got this formation going that's a little cuppy. And so I would say use the baseline of that congestion as the go, no-go line there in the YM. All right? And targets back into 45,000, 44,938. Bitcoin, micro Bitcoin. All right? Very sideways, very ugly. In essence, this chart is caught between 110,000 and 91,000. All right? And so it's getting ready to do something. See the tight squeezing here? See the bands? They're slightly down, but there's a lot of tight squeezing here. Intraday, what we are seeing is higher highs and lower lows. So there's a range expansion coming. Dips, if it comes into 95,000, that's value area low. You got yourself a potential buy, about 1,000 points of risk to the downside. If you're using the micros, it's not that big of a deal. Up here at 100,000, in general, they're selling, right? But it could go either way. I do not know which way this chart is going to go. But what I can say is, if you trade in the middle, it's going to stink. That's all I know. If you trade in the middle, it's going to be bad. Trade on the edges, manage the risk tightly, and you'll be in good shape. Whoa, did we just get news? We might have just gotten news. Big move. I see that NQ is coming into that 795 number that I talked about. All right, here's gold. Listen, you want to talk about something on a rocket ship to the moon? This one is running like, I don't know, what would we say in the South? Scalded dog. There you go. That's an awful saying. I'm not saying that one again. But it's running. It's crazy run. However, let me show you something. This is a Fibonacci, right? This is a harmonic. And this harmonic, I have two different harmonics that tell me that this area near 2,950, going to be, wow, I missed oil. I'll do that next. This is going to be a resistance zone. That's what I suspect. Okay, and wouldn't you know it, a little bit of a topping tail. Here's the problem. See how bullish this is? Candlesticks been retracing each other for the last 4 hours. But this kind of topping formation, remember, here's what happens. Let's say people are going to go short, right? So they try to short here. It pulls back. They get stopped out because it blows higher. Maybe they try to short again. But as long as this chart holds 29.25, this is a buy the dip formation. It's got to lose this edge where another group of buyers are going to come in. 29.17 is my suspicion. Right there around that breakaway edge. And the VWAP, 29.15, 29.18. Then they're going to try the bounce again. Now, I believe this is a topping formation, but on an hourly move, you're going to have to be super careful because the wide action could give us a little bit of trouble, and there are a lot of buyers still trying to go in this space, but we don't normally walk the band for a long period of time, though we did walk it here for an entire day in January, all the way up into the night or into the afternoon, but from early in the morning, 3 a.m., just walking that band very dramatically. We are very extended from the VWAP. Pullbacks or buy zones. If you buy this 29.18 or you buy the 29.25, it absolutely needs to defend on the spot, or this chart is going to have rotation down into 29.02. All right, let's go to oil. Sorry about that. So oil is in a little bit of a rounding space. I suspect 72 is the line in the sand, really, in terms of being able to get out and above. It really has got to break this VWAP area at 72.13. Pullbacks into 71.59 could be a nice buy. upward motion. They are trying to base this. Notice the change, right? Notice the change in the rotation. Also, notice what happens when these guys try to buy a dip and the pressure is downward. They get flushed, and that's where the real buyers begin to come in. But they still get flushed again when the higher low comes and the moving averages have shifted. There you've got yourself the buy. Remember, traders like to flush each other in these rotations for shorting action, right? Especially in the motion. This is now bullish, so it's telling us pullbacks are likely to be buy zones in the short term. I like 71.56 to 71.25. All right, let's take a look at SPY. This, look what, when you talk about a jagged Keltner, look at this. Jagged. Why do they look so jagged? Wicks. What are the wicks telling us? Buy the dip. Wicks are telling us buy the dip. Take profit at your resistance area, but definitely buy the dip. We have sideways formations here. We're caught in a very big range. If it comes into 592 on any kind of news, a lot of people have been buying there. A lot of people have been buying there. Notice how long it takes to flush out that area. So you could take it, but go small size and don't add to it until it clears the congestion zones. And that could take a few hours. What are we doing here? Friday. This is Thursday's VWAP at 6:05. I wouldn't be surprised to see us head into that zone, right? This is bullish. Buy the dip. Momentum is up. We're above the moving averages. We're headed to resistance on the bigger time frame. It is a buy the dip formation. Let's look at the cues. More jagged Keltners, right? Buy the dip. Looks pretty good. Where is the go, no-go line? 525. I say, if it loses 525, it's going to fall another 3 points to 522, right? And potentially lower, because this is a wiki mess. Where's the best place to take profit here? 527. You could take half your gains and move up into 531. But clearly, we've got ourselves by the dip formation. Now that we're headed up here, we're getting into heavy congestion. A lot of arguing. People are going to be going both ways. So you take some profit. You wait for the pullback, maybe into the VWAP, 525. If you're above that VWAP and you're above your moving averages, it's a buying formation. You just want to be very careful. Very, very careful. Wow, that missed my long. Okay, take care, folks. I'll see you on the streams.